Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is an Object 261 Tier 10 Soviet SPG. It's located on the west spawn of Westfield under the command of Andromedaa. But I'm afraid this is a troll video. Yep, game started. But there is a troll on the team. And I'm afraid the troll is the M48. The M48 Patton. Ig Sofa, or Ig Sofa, doesn't want to play with Arties and says so in chat. Well, the Arties are going to their firing positions. And the M48, he's just decided to sit behind that little house over there and do nothing for the rest of the game. Okay, the first tank that Andromeda's aiming for is a T95FE4201. Rounds out. Wasn't fully dialed in, but he did stun the T95, so that's something out of it. These are 18cm shells, do 900 alpha, penetration of 45mm of armour, and got a fairly good burst radius as well. Medium duration stun, mainly because it's a fairly lowish caliber compared to some of the higher caliber Arties. He's loaded, going for the 60 TP this time. Just lands behind him, but it does pick up some hit points. You can see the other Arty rounds are coming in. Okay, he's ready to shoot. Going for the 60 TP again, fires the round in, and it lands just in front of him. But again, he picks up some hit points. It actually is fairly difficult shooting on the reverse slope of a hill, because the tank is actually slightly thinner to actually aim at. I know it may sound a bit funny, but yes, it is. It's a slightly reduced size target because it's going up a hill. And of course the aim point is much more difficult. Okay, he's now adjusting to fire at the T95FE4201. Fires the round in and, oh, gets a nice hit this time. 305 hit points and a load of stun assist as well. And the M48 Patton is still sitting there. And he's still talking in chat. Well, there's one tank that's down. The M48 Patton on the enemy team died. Going for the strip 103B, rather. Direct hit for 398, a nice hit. Unfortunately, the team is now 5 tanks down. They've lost in the east, and the enemy tanks are on their way in. So even though the guys up north are being held off by a 60 TP, he's all on his own, and there's the enemy 60 TP. And he's almost loaded. Looks like he's going to have to go for a shot. Fires the round at 60 TP, who dies and gets a hit on the enemy 60 TP. But it means that then we're now 8 tanks down on the enemy. I think this is almost certainly going to be a loss, and a lot of the blame has to attach to that M48 Patton, who's just not been taking part, or only shooting at targets that come in sight of him. He refuses to go up the hill. Rounds out in the Centurion Action 10. 121 took a bit of a battering there. And the enemy's in our cap here, and they're heading straight for us. It's an STB-1. So I think we're about to get wiped out. Yep. It was the Leopard that got us. And I think really you have to put a large amount of the blame on this battle on the M48 Patton for just sitting there doing virtually nothing all game. He does have a kill, but those are only enemy tanks that came in front of him. And he's about to explode, yep. There's only one other member of our team still alive, and he was playing the game, even though he was in an EBR. He went round the other side of the battlefield. Looks like he's reached the enemy Arty. How long he stays alive, though, is another matter. Well, he managed to get one of the enemy Arty, the Batchat 155-58, and he got wiped out by a GWE100. And that's it, end of game. So, a game that was rather ruined by somebody hating on Arty and not taking part in the battle. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. Well, Andromeda managed to get a bruiser medal for at least getting 5 critical hits in that game. He got 5 exactly, and his win rate was 1006, which, whilst not being a great game, it's not being a slouch either. He was actually trying to do damage to the enemy, and unfortunately was let down by his team. On this occasion, this is the person who let him down. IG Sofa 155 in the M48A5 Patton. This is the guy who just didn't take part. If we look at him on the scale on damage, he did actually get some damage on the enemy. Only 1,105, whilst Andromeda got 1,683 hit points. Now, he did get a kill, and Andromeda didn't, but Andromeda was aiming at the tanks much further away, the heavy tanks, and it was a lot more difficult to actually get kills on them. And when it came to base XP, we can see that the Patton only just got a small amount of XP more than Andromeda's Object 261, and that was only really because he did get a kill out of that game. So yes, the big scorers on that game were the enemy team, who were playing as a team. Our team was not, because one of our tanks was just sitting at the back doing absolutely nothing really. Even though he got that kill, he was still doing nothing. He wasn't helping the others to actually defeat the enemy. So yes, it was a loss for Andromeda, and he did lose on the way of credits. He only got 160 XP for actually taking part. So it was a very unsatisfactory result for Andromeda. But I suppose the one point that we can make is that if a player decides that they're not going to participate in any battle in which there is Arty, he's probably going to be out of action for at least 2/3 of every games, because most of the games at the moment do have Arty in them. There are so many people playing Arty. If you refuse to take part in those battles, then about 2/3 of your games are going to be null and void, and they're going to be losses, or you're going to be carried by the rest of the team. But I think your number of losses is going to exceed 50%. In fact, I think it's going to be a lot higher than 50% because you're just not taking part in the battle. So yes, IG Sofa can be reported to Wargaming as an AFK or a bot. Because although, well, technically he's not a bot because he was actually taking part to a certain extent, but refusing to play with Arty is just going to make a lot of enemies and you're not going to get anywhere. So there you go. Just make a note of that name. If you see him in battle, try to encourage him to play the game properly. If he doesn't play the game properly, just report him to Wargaming for neglecting his duty. Thanks for watching.